You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
With paranormal news, views and reviews from across the USA, you're listening to Paranormal Hindsight with Jay and Teresa here on Parasearch UK Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Paranormal Hindsight. I'm your host, Jay Lynch, with my co-host,
Teresa.
And she's still here. She still likes me.
Yeah. It's temporary, I'm sure.
Oh, I imagine so. Well, we've had a good time here lately. It's been a while since we all spoke to you guys and stuff. We've had some things going on, been quite busy. Actually spent this last Friday night at our favorite place, Post Elementary School, again here in Middletown, Ohio.
Which never disappoints.
No, we had a great time sitting there and investigating that place. And I truly didn't get out in the hallways too much. I spent a lot of the time in the break room visiting with family and friends and just chit-chatting in general.
I did what I thought was fun. There's somebody that it was really neat. When he came for his first investigation with his dad and his brothers and friends, we took them on their walkthrough and investigated with them.
Yeah, that's the first time they'd ever investigated, and they brought him there for his birthday, and his brothers came with him.
And he gave me the biggest compliment this past summer. He was out of state, and he said somebody asked him to go do an investigation with them while he was out of state, but they didn't know what they were doing, and he said that he hoped that I could show them and intrigue them. He hoped that he could show them and intrigue them the way that I did him and do me proud. And I just thought that was the biggest compliment. You know, it's been probably, 2 or 3 years since we had done their first investigation with them. And he keeps bringing new people, which is great, and that's what he did this past Friday. Was he had somebody new with him, somebody that had been for about 3 or 4 times, and then he brought another gentleman that was new, who was not a complete skeptic. He believed, but he had just not investigated before. So that was a lot of fun, and I really thoroughly enjoy doing that.
Oh, it is, and it's always nice when you get new people to come into the field and somebody that you had an influence on from the very beginning to bring somebody that they're starting to influence to you for, it's nice. Yeah. It is. It makes you feel really good. It makes you like you've actually contributed.
Very much so. He had hit me up earlier in the week on Facebook and asked if we were coming for the open investigation, and I said we'd be stopping by, and he specifically asked if I could go with them and do a couple sessions since he had somebody new with him. And,
yeah.
I was honored.
Oh, absolutely. And it makes you feel so very good. It makes you feel humbled.
Very much so. Very much so.
But also proud that you've made a positive influence. Like I said a moment ago, it's amazing, that feeling.
And then we also had Ventures Paranormal was there out of Iowa.
Yeah, great people. We've met them once before. They're at Post Honey. They came there about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Wonderful team, wonderful people. Cannot say enough good about them. They're so friendly, so nice, and it was good to see Chad again and get our picture taken with him again.
Yeah.
See how fatter I've gotten over the last 3 or 4 years. Compare the old with the new, and I don't like the comparison.
I just felt even more short, and I didn't think that was possible.
It is. When you stand beside somebody tall, you feel short. And with you, everybody's tall. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. As long as we
Except
understand
for that lady at the grocery the other night.
Yeah, I know. You felt so towering over her. So, but it's been busy. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We're still recording away with our shows with Paranormal Radio on Monday nights here in the U.S. It's at paramaniaradio.com. And we record there every Monday from 7 to 9. We are live. That's Eastern Daylight Time here. So it's about, you guys are about 5 hours ahead of us. And then I'm still doing my wonderful show with my wonderful friend and co-host, Carrie Greenaway. They're on Paranormal Radio.
That's such an amazing show.
It is. We're doing the Parasearch UK radio show every Thursday night. It airs and broadcasts live here at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, United States. And
Which
midnight.
is late for you guys, and we know that. But you know what? You can always get it on the archive.
You can always catch it in the archives. You can go to, even with our Paramania shows here, our Paramania shows, you can catch them at the Paramania Radio Show. With our Parasearch UK radio show, and any show that's broadcast on Parasearch UK Radio, you can catch them in the archives at Spreaker. You can also find them at Internet Archives. You can find them on Podbean, YouTube. So there's
Spreaker and YouTube are the biggest. They're the best ones to catch it on.
Spreaker if you want to listen live, and you can also find the archive.
You can also do the archive there.
Absolutely. So there's so many ways to listen back to all these wonderful shows, and with Parasearch UK Radio and just like Paranormal Radio, there's some absolutely wonderful presenters. So please go back and listen to some of the other shows and tell them hi and leave a little comment for them. Let them know that what you think and what you like to hear, and especially with us.
Let them know that you appreciate what they do.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been really busy. Like I said, we've been doing a lot of booking here lately. We will be in New Orleans the weekend before Halloween. We'll be down there for a convention.
I'm so excited about
August
that
26th now. We've had an entire, here in Waynesville, we're helping out with an event there that actually all the proceeds are going to the Historical Society for restoration of some historical buildings there in the local community and stuff. And
any of you that might remember, we went and helped out a couple weeks ago over in that same location.
Yeah. We
talked about it, and they've asked us, Paravisions has asked us to help them out with their meet and greet. And I think I'm thinking I might probably maybe
do your healing.
Do a healing table.
And take some of your healing, your biomat and your healing stones, and do some of your energy transfer work for healing.
I think I'm going to have to hit up Miss Carrie Greenaway.
I know you are.
Get some stones over here.
Absolutely.
She's got some amazing stones. Spirit and Soul Island Crystals. Is that the name of her page, Jay?
What? I think so.
It's on my favorite. I just click favorite and
Spirit
it's there.
and Soul Island Crystals.
I had it right.
Yes, you did.
Yay. But she has some amazing things there. They're beautiful. So go take a look over there if you're into stones and crystals.
Absolutely.
So what are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, we got a lot of topics to talk about.
Yeah.
One that's actually getting on my mind
One that's kind of tweaked him a little bit.
Yes. Sorry, folks.
Sorry for the rant.
Here
it comes.
It's not truly a rant, but I truly don't understand. I don't know if you guys have it as much prevalence over there. And no, I'm not talking about demons. I know that's the big thing here in the States, and we've done a couple wonderful shows. Me and Carrie have with 2 weeks in a row with Mr. Andy Mercer discussing about demons and the phenomenon about it and how it's so prevalent over here and not as prevalently brought out over there. But with certifications, ghost classes, paranormal investigator classes, ufologist classes, cryptozoologist classes, to become certified, and these aren't accredited schools.
How can you certify somebody in something
that's not even provable?
That can't be proven. I don't understand. If somebody can send us a message, if you get it and you've done it and you understand it, please, we're not knocking you. We don't understand
I just want to know, like they have one that says an EVP specialist. So basically you're becoming a sound engineer. Because to truly be an EVP specialist, just listen to somebody and me telling you about it, and then me saying this is an EVP, this is what we're doing, da-da-da-da-da-da. That truly doesn't make you certified on EVP. EVP is actually something that's like electronic voice phenomenon. So therefore, if you train and become a sound engineer, then you would have, to me, to be more liable to actually be truly certified to be a EVP specialist, because you understand, and you'd also have to understand all that's done with the soundboard and all that, and the capabilities and what the pros and cons are of it. And you'd also have to understand frequencies and echo vibrations. And there's so much more that you'd have to be able to do to say that you are truly a specialist at it or say that you're certified. And who gives you the right to certify? Most CVPs to me don't sound what the other person's telling me they hear.
And I even, like when you're watching them on TV and they like play it and then they write it on the bottom of the screen and say what it is, what they think it is, I always close my eyes to see if I can hear it. And, they play it 10 times in a row. So at one point, I'll look and I'll be like, okay, all I'm getting is, that's all I can hear.
There's a lot of places over here, and it's a growing phenomenon on this side of the pond anyways, to where we're having more and more courses and more people offer courses, and they're ranging between $200 and $300 and $400 or higher. And it's absolutely amazing that how can you be certified and how can you teach a course to certify somebody? And they're actually giving certifications. But
they're giving you, the one I read online earlier, they're giving you a certificate and a photo ID certifying you as a paranormal investigator, a ufologist, a cryptozoologist, a parapsychologist, whatever it is.
Now, see, parapsychology, you can't get your through accredited schools.
Yes, I get that one. But the rest of them, I don't. You can't even prove that Bigfoot exists, but yet you're going to certify that somebody's a cryptozoologist?
You can't prove anything that what we research that we do in paranormal. You can't.
No. I consider Bigfoot in the paranormal.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, if you ghost, how's that?
Yeah.
I know we take a broader term of paranormal over here, where anything outside the realm anything you cannot explain scientifically yet is paranormal. It's outside the realm of norm. So it is a broader banner than what people want to give it to, but I just don't see how you're able to certify people into something that does not have any form of basis of provability so far, and it's a lot of it is drawn upon hearsay, conjecture, superstitions, and fears, and a lot of the paranormal is. You've seen it 1,000 times. Anybody that investigates has seen it too. Somebody heard noise down the hallway, and they'll say, "Did you hear that?" And I'll say, "What was that?" And they'll say, "It must have been the ghost." Prove that. Go see what it is.
Now, I can get Paranormal 101.
Absolutely.
Because,
introductory, this is the equipment.
That just gives you a basic breakdown. This is a recorder. This is what it does. This is a K2.
This is why we use it. This is what we're looking for.
Right. You just kind of go through things. And we could do a Paranormal 101 or 101, but I'm not going to certify somebody.
And these classes are taking weeks.
Yeah, saying that
one or two nights a week for
that
X amount of
they're
time.
a certified paranormal investigator. Who am I to?
And who certified that first person
right,
to
that's
give
what
that
I was just
credit?
going to say. Who gives somebody else that type of authority to say that they deem John Smith as a paranormal investigator? Who gives somebody else that authority? Who gave it to them?
That's what I'm saying.
Did they just suddenly wake up one morning and say, "Oh, you know what? I'm a paranormal investigator, and I think I'm going to train other people in it too."
And there's some people that's posting about it, and people that I have on my friends list that are posting about it and how they're going to be giving classes this summer, and they're so happy and proud, and da-da-da. And it is followed by a few week courses, and then a week of training, followed by an investigation where they'll end up getting their certification. How can you do that? I mean, this person's not certified themselves. What gives them the ability to certify somebody else, like you were saying? But there are some places that no, there's not. Parapsychology, there's accredited schools giving accredited degrees in it, but there's no accredited college giving an accredited degree or anything else in paranormal investigating, cryptozoologist, ufology, or anything else. Even demonology and angelology. That's the big thing now too. You got people who says they can call up they know all these demons. Now you got people learning the lineage of the angels. So who has the true?
And we know somebody that's training people both ways.
Yes.
Both ways, folks.
They're giving demonology courses and
angelology
courses. And they're doing paranormal courses now. And it's not through an accredited school, but they say that they have the accreditation because they have all these done, they've done this, and they've done that. That doesn't make them accredited and they're able to do that. Mm-mm. It's still not recognized by any form of institution or any form of the government as an accreditation to actually have some form of validity to it. So basically, it's all basically a scam.
I can understand, like
in my
said,
opinion,
doing a Paranormal 101. Here's the equipment. This is what you listen for. This is what you look for when you use this type of equipment, this is how you act on an investigation. There's not enough people that tell other people that. There are not enough people that say, hey, you know what? When we're in the room and we're doing a session and we are recording, we are doing EVP session, and your stomach goes, claim it, folks. Because when you're listening back, there was just a demon in that room.
And see, she said here it's time for me to go off. You've done more complaining than I have.
I didn't realize that it tweaked me that much.
But it is something that's serious and stuff. And it's something that we as a paranormal community really need to take a look at, because how strong are they truly making us look? And how much are they really advancing the field? Kind of like when I have the nice discussion on the different things about the equipment, how equipment truly is not advancing. You have the REM pod now, which is nothing but a K2 meter. It's all it reads, same thing as a K2 meter. We've not made it more technical. Now, you want to step up from that, you get a
Now,
millimeter.
with the REM pod, I will say that I've noticed, we don't own a REM pod, but we've worked with several. I've noticed that it seems, the REM pod seems to get activated less often.
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
There's
no.
been places that we've been that I've seen the REM pod set there and the K2 meter.
I've seen the K2 going off. It's harder. Like Friday night, for example, we got, I would say, half of a hit because it just kind of bleeped on the REM pod. But the K2 was going off. It seems like it might be easier to set off the K2 than it is the REM pod.
See, I have the exact opposite experience. I sit there and watch the K2 meter not make a sound, not even a foot away from the REM pod, because that antenna and stuff, that thing just squealing and beeping and flashing like absolute crazy. And everybody going, oh, look, there's ghosts on all four sides because it senses the sides that you're coming up on. That's what the lights mean. There's four of them all around it. How do you know there's four? Because there's only four damn lights?
Right. If it had 8, there'd be 8 demons or...
Demons, ghosts, spirits,
I know,
whatever.
I said the D word. I'm
I
sorry,
know, but
guys.
I'm just saying, it's not getting into accreditation. Now, like I said, you have a REM pod and a K2 meter. They're not calibrated or anything like that. A step up is the millimeter, but it's still reading Gauss. It's still reading temperature. And some of them have a REM pod built into them now.
Yeah.
So you're turning around, if you got a REM pod built into it, and you're using the meter itself, you're basically reading the same thing. You're not reading different ambient things. You're reading two of the same things, reading the same exact energy source.
Excuse me. The SLS camera is a little bit different now. That's a little bit of a newer concept.
That's a new introduction into it.
Right.
But people are already designing the same thing, redesigning it the same way,
Right.
giving it a new name. They're not actually going out. All they're wanting to do is capitalize on the chance to. Well, he sells his for $1,300. I can sell mine for $1,000, and I'll make more money because mine does the same thing.
Right.
They're not absolutely doing anything to change the effects of it or enhance it or anything else. They're just making the same product in a different package.
No,
that's my point.
It's the same. It's the same. I get what you're saying now. It's the same product. It's still baloney, but it's just packaged, whether it's Cons or Eckridge or.
Well, they don't. Yeah.
Whatever.
But I'm saying, it's just because you change the name on it and change how it looks doesn't mean it's doing anything different. It's still reading the same exact thing. The only thing where I would say the millimeter steps up a little bit is that the millimeter actually reads in some form of readable range, that you can actually see a digital range. You can tell whether it's a 0.2 or a 0.6 or a 3.4 or whatever. You can tell the range of how the influx of the energy is being registered. That gives you some kind of ambience to go by, because you know if you're reading 3.4 and all of a sudden the room goes up to 4.6, you just jumped up that much of a energy level that there's some form of disturbance. But with a REM pod or a K2 meter, they give you no gauge to go by. It's just flashy, blinky, blinky, flashy, flashy, blinky.
Well, with the K2.
And also squeal and beep like a bear.
With the K2, if it goes up to red, that's stronger.
What form is stronger? That could only be a 0.3 reading. And actually, if you read the equipment, if it's a 0.2 degree fluctuation from what your core is, which means 2 up or 2 down, which gives you a 0.4 range. If it's a 0.4 range, it's outside, it's just normal interference, which means just because it went from green to red, it could be within inside the normal range, because you don't know. You don't know what the range is.
He's talking nerd again.
I'm talking.
When
accuracy.
he talks nerd, he has to break it down for me. Did you notice that he broke it down to the colors for me? I appreciate it.
But see what I mean, though?
Yes.
You don't get a true reading of what your range is. There could only be a 0.1 or a 0.2 difference in there. And according to the equipment, that's a normal disturbance in the normal field. That's something that's not outside of paranormal. That's within the normal range and differences that you can tell. So if you're reading 1, you could have a reading of 0.8 to 1.2, and it actually still be within the normal range. Where you can't tell that with a REM pod or a K2. All you can see is that, ooh, the lights went brighter. So what kind of frequency has it came up? How many degrees has it came up? What's the status of it? You don't know that. So that's what I'm saying. At least with the millimeter, you're getting an actual calibrated reading where you can read it and not just, ooh, the lights flash. So
does the mel also do temperature?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Some of you have that do ambient temperature, and they're actually more accurate than those little point and click radar guns that you can buy that read surface temperature. They're only designed to read a surface temperature from a certain distance. Once you shoot out into the open air, there's no guarantee of what it's reading. You read the instructions on the thing that tells you that. But because people started using them in paranormal, they shoot them across a 30-foot room, and oh, look, there's a drop. Of course there is.
But it only goes 8 feet.
It's not designed to go that far. But yet people are relying on that for ambient air temperature. No, you need an actual thermometer for ambient air temperature. Then you would actually see what it actually is. You need it calibrated to where you can read it in decimal points so we can see an actual change. You can have a change within an atmospheric pressure of 3 or 4 degrees and it not be anything paranormal. You need to know your equipment, and you need to make sure that it's legible to discern what is good and what's not good. You need to be able to see what it can do and can't do. Just have, because you got blinky lights and lights green and lights red. What's the difference there? If it's only a 0.2 or 0.4, it's within the normal range of fluctuation. So you've now given something a reading that you truly has no validation to the reading that you're given.
Good point.
And see what she says, I get long-winded. It's not my fault. She gets me started on these topics.
I just kind of let you go.
Well, it's. I truly believe in. I truly believe in the paranormal, but I'm also a very open-minded skeptic about it. I want to make sure that if I'm giving out information, that I'm giving out proper information, that I've at least alleviated as much stupidity that I could possibly leave from myself. If you're using faulty equipment. Now the flashy, bleepy ones, they look great. They look pretty on TV. And for anybody that's not in the field, that's not training or trying to progress in the field, they're a wonderful tool. But they're not a tool that I would take into somebody's home and say that, yes, you have a paranormal activity. Not with those pieces of equipment.
No.
I would never rely on those pieces of equipment to give me any form of reading on paranormal activity whatsoever. The one that does the static, what's it called? The 360? Static detectors have been around for a long time. Absolutely been around for a long time. So they put it in a round form, and it's got these creative little straws sticking out on the sides of it, and they light up different colors, and they say that you can detect which side's coming up from the
I think a lot of that is just because it is a visual that people can see easily.
But that makes it pretty for TV, and I get that. Or for when you're filming, you're sitting in a big group of people that they can see it. I get that. But to me, if you've developed some form of static meter, because it could be static, it could be a portion of the thing that we don't know. We don't understand what a spirit truly is and all that stuff and what energy level it is. So go with static. But you need to do the same thing that you're doing with the millimeter. You need to have it calibrated. You need to see and you need to see that what's the normal fluctuational range. But then again, anything that's moving can create static electricity. Can create a static charge. I mean, you walk across the carpet, builds up static, you shock somebody. So you have to make sure that when that thing sets, it has time to set and let static around it to dissipate. Then if you get a build up a static charge, then what's caused if nobody else is moving around it? But if you get people moving around it a whole lot, depending on the surfaces and everything else, it could create the static in the room to build up by the people's movement.
Right.
So there's so many things there that you got to take into consideration. So you need to make sure that the equipment is able to do what you need it to do. And just because it has flashy lights and an antenna and makes noise, you can't really read the calibration of it, what it's doing. You can't read how far the fluctuations of it is. You just know that the lights are getting brighter or flashing faster. So what? So it only went up a little bit. It's still within normal range. You don't know whether it is or not.
So you don't actually know what normal is. So
But
if
like
you
I
don't
said,
know what normal is, that makes it paranormal.
Right. But is it truly paranormal? Is it paranormal because we're not actually looking at it properly? Because we're not actually going in. Like I said, if you have a piece of equipment that can't register what the normal level is, then you don't. And you know that, okay, we went around this room. We've had this meter sitting here for X amount of time. It's been at 3.4 forever. We come in, we start doing a session, all of a sudden it goes to 6.6 or 6.1 or whatever. It jumps up, which is an extreme jump. Like I said, if it goes up, if it goes up by 0.2 or down by 0.2, so you got a 0.4 range to be within the normal range. So anything over a 0.2. So if you have an actual whole number jump up, one whole number jump up, it's amazing. But if you have it jump up by 2 or 3 whole numbers, it's even, oh my God, what now?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. You gotta understand that equipment, but you have to be able to calibrate, not actually calibrate, but understand the equipment and know what its range is and what the fluctuation of a normalcy is. You got plus, like anything, you got a plus or minus factor.
Okay.
You got if a normal room for this room right here, the normal reading is every time we've been in over there we've been in that same room for 30 different times, and every single time we've registered what at the same time we registered what it was. So now you can form a normal. That's just it. We don't form a normal. We just go in and all of a sudden we get this high reading. Oh, that must be. How do we know that?
You don't.
Because you've not developed any pattern to it. You don't know. And you go 4, 5, 6 times. Check just that room. You could go check it 4, 5, 6 times through a night, every half hour. It's going to establish within that time frame of normalcy. A short time frame of normalcy, but
right,
the normalcy.
but it's still there.
Right. To get a true normalcy, you need to check it every so often for X amount of days and da-da-da-da-da. But we don't do that. So now,
most people are not in a location like that.
Exactly. So now that you can't do that, then you must establish then what the equipment range is.
Okay.
And by having just flashy, beep, beep, beepy, you don't have something that you can actually register. Oh, every time I went in there for the first 3 times, it only lit up a green light. Then that one time it lit up a yellow one. But I've never got a red light, so red light must be bad. How do you know this bad? It still could be within inside the 0.4 fluctuation range that's expected of the equipment, plus or minus.
Red's always bad.
Yeah. So is black. So is black. If it's black, it's dark, it's demon, it's evil. And if it's black and red, run like hell.
Right.
Why did you do that?
Why did I do what?
Get me on a roll like that.
It was fun.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It usually just takes a little bit of prodding for you and the way you go.
I'm not trying to be obnoxious. I'm not trying to be opinionated.
You don't have to try
I am opinionated.
You don't have to try to be obnoxious.
I am opinionated, but I'm trying to be positive about it because I do want to see this field progress.
Right.
I don't want to. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm not besmirching anybody one bit. And that's what they want to do, and that's how they want to do it. But that's not how I prefer to do my investigations. That's not how I conduct myself when I do mine. That's my standard. I'm not asking anybody or telling anybody they have to raise theirs to my level. Or maybe they exceed mine and I need to bring mine up to theirs. But if we don't openly communicate with one another and try to understand one another, then we will never progress. That's the thing about this field right now. There's a big stagnation. We're still using equipment and theories that were developed X amount of years ago that nobody's ever proven. We're not trying to expound on.
They've been thought of or brought to life 20 years ago, 10 years ago even, and nobody's proven them. Nobody's nothing, but yet we're still using them
over and over,
repeatedly,
and over. And we're still making the same mistakes that we were before. And what's sad about it is we know some of these things that we're doing are the wrong thing. We know that they're not technically up to the savvy of at the level that we should be or want to be, but yet we continue to do them. And like I said, is for progression in the field, we must first progress in ourselves.
I agree with that.
And you can.
You know, I'm guilty on... Because if you have, and I've said this before, I even said it tonight, I like to work with people that have never investigated before. And if you've got that person that's never investigated before, number one, they want to see something to pique their interest a little bit more. They truly don't want to go and sit in a room all night long, nobody say anything, no flashlight, no nothing. How boring is that? We've all done it. but I didn't do that when I first started. So when I have somebody that's never investigated, I'll use like the flashlight technique, or I'll use a K2, something that visually entices them. And then you tell them, this doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you can, but it gives them something visual so that they want to do it again. Because we need more people that are intrigued.
But you know what?
Want to be there.
You know for a fact that you got somebody that wants to learn about this field. If you have somebody that can go in and can set for X amount of time, set for an entire night and not experience one thing. Not one thing that they can... Because for the first few nights we went, I didn't think I experienced anything. I thought everything I could figure it out. Kind of intrigued me, but I didn't think it was anything big.
But something happened. No matter if you felt a small tug on your shirt, saw something out of the corner of your eye, maybe you heard a little whisper, something intrigued you.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you get somebody that cannot come away with it thinking that they didn't truly have that big defining moment or any kind of moment that made them really want to go crazy about it, but still pique their curiosity because it challenges them to think to another level. The biggest thing that got me is that I really didn't have an experience, but the two guys that we were talking with that night, and Brian Hensley and Joe Kudo, kind of explaining the term that just because you went fishing and you didn't catch a single fish, does that mean fish don't exist? So it opened my mind up and my way of looking at things that I had ignored too many things, just totally ignored it and dismissed it without any recollection of or even recognizing that for the possibility of it actually possibly being something. So I basically walked through my entire life up at that point in time with some extreme blinders on. And it was time to take the blinders away.
And you did.
And it opened your mind up to a whole conceptual idea of a different way of thinking and perceiving things and to question things more. You think then to that point in time that you're actually questioning things on life and stuff, and you truly aren't. You truly are looking at them from a very, not even a skeptical, very closed-minded point of view, a very dismissive, closed-minded point of view. And to being a paranormal investigator, you can't be that way. You can't be that way even if you're a devout, stern, haunch believer in it either. Because if you do, then you dismiss the possibility that you might be overthinking things or just over-accepting things. That sometimes I've seen people do it. They want to try to present evidence that you know for a fact that isn't evidence. You know the facility. You know what's going on. You hear that all the time. This is what causes it, and they refuse to believe you. You can't do it either way.
Right.
You have to find some form of skepticism while keeping an open mind about belief too. If not, then you just allow yourself to run loose and you become as zealous just like anybody else with anything else, and you're just completely consumed with everything is something. It's like I said earlier, you can hear somebody that's believable about it will hear a noise down a hallway, and they'll automatically say, "Oh, did you hear that? That was the ghost moving. They knocked a stick over." Prove that. You walk up the hallway, there's no sticks. You're like, it was a ghost stick. Come on. They want to, everything is always something. And you've seen the same thing with cryptozoologists. We've been out in the field with some people doing some research and stuff.
Right.
And every little sound was something. No, that was this. No, that was a dogman or a Bigfoot. No, that was this. This is what causes that. And they absolutely dismiss it. They don't see it, so it's automatically something that they believe that it is. That's where a lot of, I think, our paranormal has got a lot of roots in, that they're dismissive of humans because they're too afraid to go investigate what might be there because of fear it might be something, actually a dogman or something there, or a ghost, whatever, or a demon. So they don't go investigate because what if it really is what I think it is? Then I'm in deep shit, so I'll just stay right where I'm at, where I can assume what it is and stay nice and safe. You can't be that way either.
No, you can't.
You have to be able to confront that. Even if you confront it and it ends up in a bad situation, you still have to be able to face that.
Right.
You can't sit back and hear something 300 yards away and say that it's a Bigfoot, a dogman, a ghost, a ghoul, a goblin, a demon. You can't, oh, that was a giant. How do you know that? You didn't see it. It was a sound. Or it was this, or it was that. So you saw a flash of light. That doesn't make it a fairy.
True.
So you have to keep that inquisitive, investigative style going without going completely the opposite direction of it also. Now, we went far off the tangent from what we were talking about. And so maybe with all these discussions and all these radio shows over the last 2 years, maybe I'm ready to become certified to be able to certify some. Well, I am certifiable, but not.
I swear I was just going to say.
I know you was. I've seen it flash in your eyes. Oh, yeah, you're certifiable, all right.
And I've got my certificate of committal over here from Trans-Allegheny. I was committed for marrying Jay.
Yeah, we have some friends of ours that work for the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum there in West Virginia. One of the most haunted locations in the United States. And they were at a convention we were at, and they were giving out certifications why people were committed to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And they have a list of things that people were actually committed there for. I mean, from weird things, from being homeless was something that somebody could be committed to there and be stuck there for the rest of their lives with criminally insane and everything else. Self-indulgence could be one of them, and the people would come up when they were getting these nice little certificates as a nice little joke. Just got the logo of the place on it and everything, and they're really cool looking. They're not really big. They're only about not even half sheet of paper, but
yeah, they're just.
But the one that Teresa got, they had because they're friends of ours. They thought it was kind of funny. They gave her committal paperwork, and it said instead of for all these other reasons that everybody else had to pick, they put her reason just because she married me, she deserves to be locked up in the lunatic asylum.
And I do. It's kind of.
That's what you get when you and
let me see if I
being
pull
in
it
the
off
community
wall
is such
over
a
here.
wonderful thing. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I absolutely love the paranormal field. I have so much enjoyment with it, and there's so many people that's become so ingrained in my life because
They're
of this
friends.
film. They're more than friends.
They're more than friends. A lot of them are family. We consider family.
And it's the fact that they allow me to be this eccentric and think the way that I do now. That was never something that was acceptable with the community that I used to run around with. It was all the anti-social and large male egos and beat on your chest and grunt and sound like a orangutan sometimes, But it's changed, and to be able to use your mind for more than just a hat rack.
Right.
To give more in-depth thought and stuff, more curiosity into the world around you and stuff is absolutely enlightening. And it can lead you in many different directions. I mean, there's so many people that we know that's gotten more into spiritual, more religious. We've known some that's left the field because it challenged their religion, or they thought they challenged their religious belief. And I don't think it truly is. I think there's more to it than that. And if that's what they want to settle for and think, then that truly is their choice, because that's one thing that we all have been given, free will. And I'll not take anybody's away from them.
God can't take it away, so why should you?
So I know I can.
That's another thing that we're not going to get on right now. Good Lord, we'll be on here all night long if you get him started on that one. Don't do it.
No, but I would love to hear some other opinions about it. And that's, please, when you listen to the show, and I know we're pre-recorded, but please, if you have a question or a comment or a statement to it, find us on Facebook. You can find us at on Parasearch UK Radio's page, and you can send us a message through there. You can find us on our own personal page, Jay Lynch or Teresa Lynch, or you can find our we have a page together for the radio shows. It's Teresa J. Lynch, and you can leave us a message there. You can also get on our paranormal investigation team page, which is Hindsight Paranormal. You get on there and leave us a message and stuff, or ask a question, and then we'll see if we can't get into more of a discussion about it. And if you're able and we can, we'll book you on the show to record with us. And
if
we'll
for some reason you can't find us, send it to Carrie or Richard or Andy. That way they can send it on, forward it over to us. We want your input.
Absolutely. And then, like I said, maybe if it's something that we can get a time set up, we'll record with you and stuff and get an idea of what's your perspective and actually have a discussion about it, because we absolutely desire that, because the only way to learn is to discuss and to be open-minded with one another.
Absolutely.
So, well, you got anything else for tonight?
I think that's about it.
I think we'll leave them alone then.
All right.
We thank you guys for listening to the Hindsight Paranormal Show with Jay and Teresa Lynch, and hopefully you guys tune in again and listen to all the other shows on Parasearch UK Radio.
Good night and have a great week.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.